Hey, what's up, guys? I hope you guys are having a good day. I wanted to hit something real quick that you guys may or may not know about. I thought it was worth discussing because it's kind of all over the internet right now. Morehouse College has they've been getting a lot of bad looks the last couple of years, I would say. First with administration fighting and the students getting pissed off at the board of trustees. They had a great president. His name was John something. I can't remember his last name, and now he's gone because they pushed him out. Also, let me just hold this because this thing's falling off.
Is it wiggly?
Yeah, and and then you had what was the other thing that happened? I forgot. It was something that about the changing of the rules or something, or basically making the school into something other than what people see as sort of a pristine Morehouse tradition. So at any rate, I wanted to try to address some of this. If I can get this thing to stay on, can you help me with that?
Yeah.
And so anyway, so here's what's going on. Basically, there is a student that has been on the internet claiming that he was sexually assaulted by one of the Morehouse administrators by the name of DeMarcus Cruz. DeMarcus Cruz, according to the Heavy, is or he's listed as the director of housing and residential education. He's alleged to have sexually harassed and assaulted two male students, both of whom share their stories via Twitter videos. Okay, so he's also served as an assistant dean at the college. And so basically the videos have gone viral. I'm sure the Morehouse administration is concerned about this. The student that was complaining was basically saying that this DeMarcus Cruz guy was basically hitting on him. It sounds like he was hitting on him. He mentioned hugging him, pinching his cheeks, trying to get him to come out as gay, things like that. And he felt that these were, that these were things that were clearly unacceptable. And he felt that the university wasn't giving him the response that he needed, that he deserved. It's interesting, right? So I was reading this, right? And so my thought on a lot of situations like this, honestly, especially when you get down to something that is word of mouth, and who you believe and all that stuff. And you're talking about, someone's career. This DeMarcus Cruz guy, he's a Morehouse graduate, and I think he worked at Harvard. And so the implications for him are pretty big. If it turns out that he really was sexually harassing students, he's done. I mean, he's not going to get jobs in academia anymore, that's for sure. In fact, I remember when I was at Syracuse, there was a professor who was sleeping with a student in his class, and I wouldn't have. I mean, I didn't, I don't think that was appropriate at all. I thought that was very uncool. And so here's the thing. So I'm reading this. I was trying to figure out what's really going on. You can look it up. His name's DeMarcus Cruz, and basically, one screenshot that they shared on Twitter is that Cruz has allegedly resigned from the school. Now, this hasn't been confirmed by the school, but this is what somebody shared from a Facebook page that looked like Cruz's Facebook page. Also, according to the Heavy, they have some issues as far as their Title IX director having to answer for why the students weren't getting the response or the reaction they deserve. I'm going to read some of this to you. Here's what Morehouse has to say. Let me see here. This is This is a statement. Oh, the College of Student Government. Sorry, the College of Student Government issued a statement that says, "We, the indelible administration of the Morehouse College Student Government Association, are in support of our fellow Morehouse students and condemn any acts of sexual violence and assault here in Morehouse. We have reached out to the college and are working in conjunction toward a plan of action." Okay. Then several hours later, the college president, Dr. David Thomas, he released a statement saying that an investigation has been launched and that Cruz has been placed on unpaid administrative leave. Now, now, in terms of the specifics, now, when things like this come up, I'm always curious about the details. I'm always curious about, what exactly happened. I think that's important when you're talking about something that can really affect somebody's life, their livelihood, their career, their employment. And basically, I watched one video, and this is from a freshman. I feel bad for the poor guy. He says, "So I'm ready to finally tell what happened. I was assaulted by a staff member at Morehouse College by the name of DeMarcus Cruz. He says the assault sent him into a bad depression. He says that Cruz was trying to, quote, force me to come out about my sexuality, making advances at me, telling me I need dick. And then he says that Cruz told him, "Didn't I tell your bitch ass to text me if you needed anything?" And then he says, "In my freshman year, he used to do shit to me, hugging on me, pinching my cheeks, just predatory shit like that." Now, I'd be curious to know what you guys think in terms of, what constitutes unwanted sexual advances versus what constitutes sexual harassment versus what constitutes sexual assault, which I would assume would include things like rape, right? I'd be curious to know because, again, I'm not going to say that anybody has the right to hug you without your permission. Nobody has the right to pinch your cheeks without your permission. But, if someone pinches your cheeks or hugs you and you didn't want them to do that, is that the same as assault? Is that the same as a rape? Is that the same as is that something that should have somebody sent to jail? Should they be, should they have, lose their career? I don't know. I'm not saying woman because I don't know this guy. I don't know this DeMarcus Cruz guy. I'm going to say that based on what I'm reading, it sounds to me like it's a possibility, like they're implying that he had a thing for other young men, right? It sounds like he wasn't that old. He graduated from Morehouse in 2015, so I'm gonna guess he's maybe mid to late 20s. These guys are coming around. They're 18 to 21. Maybe there was attraction there. I don't know, but obviously, no matter who the person is, we know that no means no, right? And I think that's important to understand. I think that one thing we know for sure is sort of in this era of the Me Too movement, where you've kind of got everybody sort of on the Me Too thing. You have to know that no means no, right? There used to be a time where where men were expected to be assertive, expected to keep pushing. Even if you say no, they keep asking, they wear you down. Eventually you say yes. That was kind of the game people played. I never really played that game. I didn't like that game. I always felt like no meant no, period. But I know that there were women and men that expected that game to be played. That game is over. That game is over. So I think that if it's proven, and again, proof matters, right? You need evidence. You can't, if you're going to accuse people of things and ruin their lives and ruin their reputations and take all their money and put them in jail, you have to prove things. I know it sucks. Maybe it seems unfair. Maybe it's, it feels best to just lock people up because you think they might have done something, but I don't think we can live in that kind of society. I think that Morehouse should investigate. I think Morehouse maybe needs to have a conversation with staff members about what's appropriate and what's not appropriate when it comes to students. I think staff members that want to protect themselves have to be thoughtful about what situations they're going to be in with students. I can imagine at Morehouse where you got these guys there, many of whom don't have a father at home, looking to the older men for mentorship, and the men sort of feeling comfortable getting into these ambiguous spaces with the men, right? And then let's just be real. I mean, there's been a whole lot of conversations about a lot of male relationships happening. It happens on every campus, but it seems like Morehouse is getting a lot of attention for what's changing in terms of Morehouse. I'll just say that it's interesting. I know people. I've heard things. I've seen things. It's Morehouse has changed. But I think that also when I'm reading this. I think also there has to be a conversation with students, about what the appropriate action steps are to move forward. I don't know if going to the internet and talking about it on the internet was the best solution, but then again, maybe he did it because he felt like he had nobody that would listen to him. Also, I would be curious to know details. I think that in situations like this, where the allegations are so heavy, you need details. You need specifics. Okay, did he rape you, or did he just pinch your cheeks and hug you? If he pinched your cheeks and hug you, that deserves this punishment. But if he raped you, then that deserves that punishment, right? I don't think that we can look at everything as rape. Everything ain't rape. Everything ain't assault. Everything ain't harassment. Everything ain't, everything does not fit in the same box. And so I think that those conversations have to be had. I mean, if we're going to move forward with this era where people are, sort of, calling things out, what are the standards going to be? What are the standards going to be? Because I can tell you, I went to an event one time, and this is a true story. There was a lady, usually whenever I go somewhere, there's usually some lady there that's flirting a little bit. And there was one lady who was flirting really hard, and she was she waited. This is what the I think this honestly, I think this might be like groupie behavior, but I don't get into that. I'm not, that stuff is like I don't, you know, whatever. And so she waited until everybody was gone. There was a long line of people that were waiting to get their book signed, and I noticed this one lady just kept standing there. She wasn't moving forward with the line. She was letting people go in front of her so that she could deliberately be last. And so the lady gets up to me, and she scoots way real close, and I'm like, hey, nice to meet you too. And she kind of like rubs her breast on my shoulder, you know. And I was like, this lady got her titty on my shoulder. And my manager saw it. My manager's like, come on, Boyce. And she grabbed me, and it was like, okay, it's time for us to go. But the thing was, we were laughing about it. I was like, gosh, that lady I think she was putting her titty on my shoulder. But it wasn't like one of those things where I felt like it's the same as her assaulting me or attacking me, or harassment, maybe, yeah, if she kept going, if she kept insisting on it, maybe. But I don't know what the appropriate punishment would be, right? The punishment at that time was, okay, conversation's over, get the fuck out, time for you to go. But somebody said, well, she's sweaty. And I don't want to put myself out there like that, you know, in terms of, because stories like this are weird to share, but I felt like that was an appropriate example to kind of say that, you know, we have to know what's the difference between somebody liking you. Everybody's had somebody that's liked them. Yes or no? Yes or no? Tell me if you've ever had somebody that really liked you. They repeatedly let you know that they liked you, and you did not like them. And you knew every time you walked in the room, they were going to say something flirtatious. They were going to take their best shot. And you just kind of would deflect every time. They trying to dunk the ball, you block it every shot. You know, they pass you the ball, you pass it back, right? Like again, I don't know. And I'm wondering, and what I think is interesting, and I'm not even saying this is what's going on in Morehouse. I'm not saying that at all, because I don't know these guys. I don't know DeMarcus. I don't know none of these people. But, you know, at what point do you define that as harassment in which the person's whole career deserves to be destroyed? That's my point. That's my point, right? Like this lady that put her titty on my shoulder, I didn't like it. I was like, get your titty off my shoulder. But I would have felt bad if, you know, her reputation had been ruined, if it was all on CNN and she was labeled as a rapist or like a predator, if she had to register as a sex offender, like, you know, or lost her job. Like, I wouldn't feel good about that, right? And now again, though, I'm a man, and men and women are different. We've talked about that. I know people tell you, feminists try to make you think that men and women, we're all the same and gender doesn't matter. No, gender does matter, because as a man, I can probably handle a little bit better than maybe I would if I was a woman, right? I see it differently. If a man is putting a genital on a woman, that's a different situation from a woman doing it to a man. But the fact that we acknowledge that it's a little different also means that we must acknowledge that we need some common sense injected into this whole discussion about what defines you know, assault versus harassment versus unwanted sexual advances. Right now, everybody is trying to be a rape victim, and that ain't always the case. Now again, once again, I say this to be clear. I'm not saying that these young guys at Morehouse didn't go through some stuff. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying, though, that the higher the charge, the higher the burden of proof, right? So if you're charging somebody with something small, you need a little bit of proof. If you charge them with something gigantic, that's going to ruin their reputation, possibly get them locked up, cause them to not be able to feed their family, then you need to provide proof at that level to make sure that we know what was going on. Like, you know, what was consensual versus what wasn't consensual. I'm sure there's a whole lot of consensual sex happening on Morehouse's campus. And so, you know, ultimately, you can't let people just toss allegations without also feeling the pressure of having to back those allegations up. If you make an accusation on someone, it is on you. The burden of proof is on you. The pressure is on you to prove what you're saying, because you're trying to destroy somebody's life. So you got to prove some things. Now, it sounds like for this guy, DeMarcus Cruz, though, he's going to have some problems, because it sounds like this, you know, maybe this guy, if you want my best guess, I'm going to bet you that there has been some stuff that's happened, that he said some things he probably wishes he hadn't said. You know, I think that, you know, sometimes as young men, your sexual energy, you start thinking with your dick, it puts you in bad situations. Who's that?
Everybody's looking for you.
Oh, is it time for us to go in?
Well, we don't have to go now, but.
Oh, okay.
Like, where's Boyce?
Okay, well, I'll be in a minute. We're about to run this race. I don't know if y'all know, we're marathon training, which is absolutely fucking excruciating.
Here, I got your shirt. And
okay.
Your, bib.
Oh, thank you. Here's my shirt. Is this my shirt?
Yeah.
See, when you run these races, you get little shirts like this. You go through torture, and then they give you a shirt
And a medal.
for $100.
Yeah, it was about that much.
And they give you a $3 medal. Is that what
Sure
it
do.
is? Okay, that's my bib. And is that my shirt too?
I think this one is mine. Okay, this one's yours.
Okay. All right. Anyway, so let me just say this real quick. I think at the end of the day, justice has to be served. Justice to me does not mean DeMarcus goes down. Justice does not mean DeMarcus is exonerated. Justice means truth. Truth means, like, prove what you can prove, and let the chips fall where they may. I'm not one to sit here and say that any of us knows what happened here. Just because somebody making an accusation doesn't mean somebody's guilty. And but at the same time, just because somebody denies an accusation doesn't make them innocent either. So I do think also that Morehouse itself as an institution is being accused of neglect. They're being accused publicly of ignoring the students that have come to them with these issues, right? So they're going to have to answer for that. And I think that it may say something about their procedures. What are your procedures and policies? Where do you tell administrators to draw the line, so that you don't have any ambiguity whatsoever? Like, should administrators be calling the students at night time? Should they be hanging out at student parties? Should they even be talking about sexual issues with the students at all, right? At least at that level, like you need some dick. Like, I don't think that's something I don't think an administrator should ever be saying that to a student, right? So if a student can prove that an administrator said you need some dick, that right there, if I'm the president of Morehouse, I have an issue with that. I'm like, you don't have any, you have no what's the word, right, would I say? You ain't got no damn business figuring out whether or not these undergraduate freshmen need dick or not. That's their business. They're freshmen. They have their own sex lives. That ain't got nothing to do with you. So I think that if it were proven that he made statements like that, so maybe text messages might prove some things, right? Like I think that, yeah, if I saw some text messages where they're having these sexual conversations, then no, I would confront both the administrators, but also talk to the students and let the students know, like, leave the administrators alone. Do not even engage in this sort of anything with these individuals. I mean, everybody has to kind of be dealt with in that situation because I remember one time talking to an OG professor at Syracuse, and I remember I mentioned to him something about a faculty member that I knew who slept with a student, and I remember he kind of laughed it off. He said, "Come on," he said, "a lot of the professors sleep with students."
Well, you're both adults.
You're both adults, but I don't think, especially in this environment, I don't think in any professional capacity should you be having sex with either coworkers or the students that you're in charge of watching. I mean, their parents did not drop them off at college so they could fuck the administrators and the teachers. I just don't believe that. But we know it happens, right? Human beings are always going to want to have sex with each other, right? Whether we make rules against it or not. But I think it creates a weird situation. And I think I think if you really just look at things just the way they are, instead of looking at what's right and what's wrong, the greater burden of responsibility, I think, goes on the older person, and it's on the person that has the most to lose. Like, so, if I'm a professor, like when I was at Syracuse, I think I remember Syracuse as even grown-ups, because I remember my father told me when I went to Syracuse, he said, "Don't you fuck anything on that campus." He said, "You fuck no one, nobody, no coworkers, nothing." And I didn't the whole time I was there. But I remember in hindsight, I would have students come to my office. A lot of the black girls would come to my office because, especially when I became like a little famous, they'd want to get to know me, and I would totally miss. And in hindsight, I think some of them were flirting with me, and I totally missed it. It went totally over my head.
You can't do that.
Yeah,
you
but
need to see it.
Right, I remember this one student telling a real pretty girl, she came to, and she was in my office and she was going to join my class, and I was like, "Oh, so what makes you want to take my class?" She said, "Because of you. I want to be in your class." And in hindsight, I thought about that, and I was like, man, I bet she was flirting with me. And I didn't figure it out till 5 years later.
You have to keep your door open. You have to be very...
Especially as a black man. As a black man, you get accused of anything, you're done. Like we still live in an Emmett Till society. Like, a black man gets accused of anything, he's done. So I never, and I never thought about it because I think I was maybe 33 and she was 20. So I saw that like a child. In my mind, I was like, this is a little kid. They don't know what they want. But I can think about other times where, maybe a girl comes in, because they always think they're grown, growner than they are, right? So, maybe she, some girl that's like a senior, and think she's grown up or whatever. And they would, and it's funny because I would talk to them. If we ever brought up the conversation of like dating or whatever, I would almost talk to them like they were like my children. And I think that, and I remember one girl was looking at me like, you don't think I know all this? Like, I'm here because I'm trying to get you to like make a move. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And in hindsight, I'm thinking about that. I'm like, no, I'm not ever gonna make a move because I'm not trying to lose my whole career over a piece of ass. That will not happen. You don't do that. So I personally think men have to be smart about that. Like, you can get sex in a lot of places. You ain't got to get sex at work, and you ain't got to get sex. If you're a teacher, you ain't got to get sex on campus. Go find somebody off campus. So there you go. So that's my real life raw philosophy on dating people that you work with. I just don't. I think you shouldn't do it, because then later on somebody accuse you of something, you got to answer a bunch of awkward questions, and it just becomes stupid. So anyway, I'm out of here, guys. I'm about to go run this race. So let me see here. What in the hell is going on here? Says Evo. According to the young man, he tried to get the attention of Morehouse and went through the process they provided. 18 years old, away from home. Yeah, I agree. That is a lot of pressure. I agree. Feminists don't believe that a woman can harass a man. Yeah, and that's bullshit. A woman can't harass a man.
They do. Women do harass.
Hell yeah, they got women that are.
I don't think can they, but they do.
When a woman's really horny, and she knows her woman power, shit, women could be.
This one.
Oh. Yeah, I've seen some things that would just make you, that would blow your mind. So I think anybody who buys that bullshit narrative that a woman can't be sexually aggressive.
I don't know anybody who says that. People say that.
Well, there are people. Well, think about it. The Me Too movement. Name one single woman that's been taken down by the Me Too movement for harassing a man.
That's terrible, because they should be.
Right. It's a gender war. It's not about justice. It's about settling scores with men. It's really, and really, I think a lot of it is also about. I don't know if it's penis envy or something, but like taking down powerful men, like basically saying like, we're going to catch them, we're going to, just like they do any group, like when they wanted to lock up more black people, what they did was they said, what do black people like to do? Let's criminalize it. That's what they did, right? So same thing is true with the Me Too movement. They said, what we need to take down powerful men. What do men like to do more than anything? They like to fuck. So we're going to create a system and a structure where, a man having sex makes him a predator. It doesn't matter if it's consensual, because remember, Tavis Smiley went down for consensual sex. All those women wanted to fuck Tavis. There's not one rape allegation against Tavis Smiley that I know of. Nobody accused him of non-consensual sex, but they took him down anyway, just because the women maybe offered sex and he took it, or he offered sex and they took it. That's the essence. That's why the Me Too movement doesn't have a lot of credibility with a lot of people. It should be about justice and fairness. I think that we should accept the idea that men can be victims of all kinds of stuff. Men can be victims of false accusations. Men can be victims of harassment. Men can be victims of a lot of stuff. I mean, I've been sexually harassed many times.
You have. I've heard about it.
Yeah, you about the lady that put the titty on my shoulder?
No, the other one that was rubbing on your arm or whatever.
Oh yeah.
The other one.
Well, I told them
there was a bunch of them.
I told them the titty on the shoulder.
Yeah, that's a famous one.
I'm a man. Like, a titty on my shoulder is not gonna traumatize me.
You were not traumatized.
I was not traumatized. I laugh though. I think it's hilarious. I think honestly, it made her look kind of thirsty and weird and desperate.
You had people send you pictures, though. Well, not that you have.
I did. I've had some. What I have is the women I've attracted have been like, what do they call them? Those women who are erotically attracted to intelligent men. I forgot. There's a word for it. That's a thing. Does somebody know that word? Yeah, it's a thing. What's the word?
That's right. I remember that.
I forgot what they call it, but there's a name for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, so sometimes having being a man with like a really good brain. I have a good brain. I'm pretty smart. Is like you
have a great brain.
Sapiosexual. There we go.
Did they get
it? Sapiosexual. Yeah. Like, so sometimes like a man that has a good brain, it's like having a big old pair of titties or a big booty or something. So I've heard some really interesting stories about that. But I just learned. I'd laugh about it. I think it's all kind of funny.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I learned from watching. I had friends and cousins and stuff who were like woman magnet magnets, and they attract all kinds of girls. And when I was younger, I had to work to get a girlfriend. Like I couldn't, girls didn't just run up on me. I had to like actually get
You
up
need
the
a
nerve
gimmick.
to,
Everybody has a gimmick.
yeah, I had to get up the nerve to talk to them. It was tough, you know. But the thing was, I watched their lives and I saw how all those women caused them problems, like having all those girls around. Yeah, yeah. One of them got accused of rape, but he got off. He got off, but it was like a situation that's like tough to shake off. Like you spend all this money or whatever, and you know. So I never saw it as like. Well, actually, when I got about probably 25 to 30, I started realizing that having like a bunch of women chasing you is not always a good thing, you know.
Well, it depends on the type of woman.
I mean, I think that, you know, like getting a quality woman is a good thing. Like quality women are a blessing.
Right.
But you got some ratchet ass, crazy ass, lying ass, dirtbag people out here, male and female. You got some Cardi B's out here, you know, or like when I started making a little bit of money, like I could smell a gold digger from a mile away. Like if you're coming near me because you feel like I can do something for you financially, that's gonna repel me. It's just like a man that wants sex. It's like you just smell it on you.
You grab me, hands away from me.
Yeah, you're like, get your eyes off my ass, you know, like that. Like, no, I mean, seriously, like, so I think quality women are a complete blessing, you know, but you got all different kinds of people out here. And I think that that's the narrative that doesn't get discussed because people think it's bad and sexist to do that. And maybe it sounds like it is, but it's not. But I'm telling you, like you got predators out here, you know. I've just heard some of the craziest stories. And I think if men aren't cautious, then they're gonna get took. You know, that's how you get assaulted, you know. So anyway, I'm about to go run this race. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget, I'll be in Chicago July 28th, drboycechicago.com if you want to go check it out. Yes, it is live. So go to drboycechicago.com. And also, if you want to go to, if you want to see me in Los Angeles, we'll be there for Harvest Festival Day, drboycelosangeles.com. I know this is a raw, crazy conversation, but I hope you guys benefited from it. If you disagree with some things that I said, that's okay, because I don't even know the answers. When it comes to the Morehouse thing, the jury's still out. I'm still processing this to try to figure out what's fair. But you know, at the end of the day, I think a lot of people have a lot of questions to answer, and everybody needs to answer questions. DeMarcus does, the accusers do, and the university does, because you know you got to get rid of this bullshit, because it's a bad look for Morehouse. Morehouse is, you know, I mean, that's a great school.
HBCU,
it's a great school, but their reputation has declined in the last 5 years. I'm sorry. It has. I think people think less of Morehouse now than they did 5-10 years ago. It used to be a source of pride to be a Morehouse man. Now it's kind of like, you know, like I wouldn't go teach in Morehouse. I've given speeches there, but I wouldn't want to like work there. So anyway, I'm out of there, guys. Take care. Have a good day. Peace. I'm hitting this button.